Twisting words. Understanding subject-verb inversion. Hello there, language learners. Today we're diving into the wonderful world of English grammar. More specifically, we're tackling the topic of subject-verb inversion. This is an important concept, especially when we talk about interrogative sentences. And within this topic, we have a really fascinating subsection called inversion with auxiliary verbs. So let's get started, shall we? Subject-verb inversion is when the subject and verb in a sentence swap places. Normally, in English, we follow a subject-verb-object (SVO) structure. But sometimes, especially in questions and certain kinds of statements, we need to flip this around. Example: normal SVO, you are learning English. Inversion, are you learning English? Before we get into the details of inversion with auxiliary verbs, it's important to understand what auxiliary verbs are. An auxiliary verb, or a helping verb, helps the main verb of the sentence to express its mood, tense, or voice. The most common auxiliary verbs are be, do, and have. Example: in the sentence, you are learning English, are is the auxiliary verb. Now, let's dive into inversion with auxiliary verbs. In interrogative sentences, we often use inversion with auxiliary verbs. The auxiliary verb comes before the subject, which creates that inversion. Example: normal SVO, she has finished her homework. Inversion: has she finished her homework? It's simple when you see it in action, right? Notice how the auxiliary verb has swapped places with the subject, she, in the sentence. There are some situations where we do not use inversion. For instance, if the sentence is a question but begins with a question word, like what, why, how, etc., the auxiliary verb follows the subject, not precedes. Example: with question word, what have you been doing? So, remember, while inversion is common, there are always exceptions in English grammar. And there we have it. This has been a brief but hopefully enlightening exploration of subject-verb inversion, particularly focusing on inversion with auxiliary verbs. Remember, understanding these grammar fundamentals is key to mastering English, especially when it comes to forming questions. Keep practicing and soon enough, it'll become second nature. Happy learning and see you in the next lesson.